Hey everybody, it's Katrina from the Alluring Bead Boutique in the Bead Map. So I was working on a guide to for the bead mat for doing flat brick stitch. And if you're unfamiliar with flat brick stitch, you can go over to the bead mat and download my brick stitch guide, which is going to show you two techniques for doing flat brick stitch. The first part of the guide will show you the normal traditional technique of each row decreasing smaller and smaller up to the point. This particular technique here I'm going to show you right now is how to have the same number of beads on each row. And in this instance, I have 8. So I went ahead and I've stitched my ladder beads together. And once again, I have a guide available on the website. So now I'm going to start my first row of brick stitch. So in flat brick stitch, you're always going to pick up 2 beads for your first stitch of each row. And normally, for normal brick stitch, we would jump over here to this second thread bridge. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go under the very first thread bridge. So we've got on 2 beads, and I'm going under that first thread bridge here. And I'm going to pull my beads down. I'm going to come back up through the last bead I picked up, which is this one over towards the left, because that's the direction I'm working in. Then I'm going to come down through the first bead. And then once again, I'm going to go back up through that second bead right here. And that secures both of my beads to the beadwork, and they're laying side by side nice and neat. Now, these are just some 8/0 delicos that I use for a lot of my guides because they have a nice contrast and you can kind of see better what I'm doing. So now we're going to continue on picking up 1 bead. We're going to go under that second thread bridge here. And we're going to add our beads one at a time to each of the remaining thread bridges here on the top of our ladder, our 8-bead ladder. So put your bead on, go under the thread bridge, pull it down, and go back up. I'll show you one more here. Put a bead on, go under your next thread bridge, like that. And come back up through the bead you're just now adding. One more, and then I will finish my row. So picked up my bead, I'm coming under that next thread bridge right there. Now I'm going back up through the bead I'm just adding. And I'm going to pause and finish this one row, and I'll be right back. So now I'm adding my last bead to the 8th thread bridge. Well, so I had dropped my bead, so I wasn't adding anything. So now I'm adding my last bead to the 8th thread bridge on the ladder below. And then I'm going to come back up through that bead just like normal. And so here's the result. We have 8 beads on row 1, which is our ladder. Then we have the 8 beads of row 2, which is our pink. So now we're going to flip our work, and we're going to work our next row just the same way. So I'm going to use purple for this. So I'm coming out here. I picked up 2, and I'm going to go under that exact same thread bridge right there, the one closest to me, the first one. I'm going to come back up through the second bead I picked up. And get my tail thread out of the way. I'm going to come down through the first bead, just like I did before, and come back up through my second bead one more time to secure my thread and those 2 beads together, just like that. And then I'm going to add my beads one at a time to my remaining thread bridges on the previous row before. So I come under that second thread bridge, pick up 1 bead, and go up through the beads you just now added. And continue on till you've got all 8 beads added to all 8 thread bridges. So now when I've got all 8 of my third row beads added, this is what my work looks like. Kind of reminds me of a Seiko watch band. So that's pretty cute. So now I have 2 pieces of this. And I'm thinking, wow, wouldn't this make a really cute bracelet? So now I'm going to show you a really cool trick. So now that I had this, I've decided, wow, I really like the look of that. So what can I do if I want to grow this beadwork out longer? So what you can do is, we're coming out of the purple bead, so we need to pick up a purple bead. We're going to go back through that same bead from the bottom to the top. Don't let your tail thread get hung up. Pull that bead into position and pass your needle down through the new bead you just added. Pick up the pink bead. Come through that pink bead from the bottom to the top. My tail thread keeps getting in my way, folks. I apologize about that. Let me hold it out of the way. All right, so now pull that bead like that up against the other pink bead. Then come down through the pink bead you just added. And if it gets a little loose on you, just squeeze the beads with your fingers and give it a nice tug pull like that. So now we're going to add a purple. So pick up your purple, come through the bottom of that purple bead on the very first row. Then come back through the new bead you're adding. Pull everything nice and snug. So now I'm going to get rid of that annoying tail thread. So I'm going to tie me a couple of overhand knots. Just like that. Because that thing was really getting annoying. So I'm going to take my needle, and I need to be coming out of that purple bead. So I'm going to go up through the purple bead right next door. And I'm going to pull my knot up inside of that bead. Then come down through the bead I need to be exiting to get back into position, just like that. And now I can end my annoying little tail thread. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here I have these 2 darling little pieces of beadwork. And I'm not going to cut these apart because I'm going to make a project out of these for you guys. I just wanted to show you that cool little technique and figured out how you can get your brick stitch started so you get this beautiful little, you know, offset pattern going with your purple rows, and then, you know, your little pink rows a little bit offset there. And I kind of like that, and it looks like, you know, really gives you a good opportunity for ending a bracelet or something like that. But so it's pretty cute, and I wanted to share it. All right, guys, so that is it for right now. Head on over to the bead mat and check out some of my cool guides. If you're unfamiliar with brick stitch, you may want to go ahead and get the flat brick stitch guide that I'm putting up in the shop.